Hey guys, it's Abby. Welcome back to my channel. If you saw in one of my channel posts, I have to figure out how to get my community turned back on because I can't figure that out. So, I asked you guys questions of things you would be curious about for a Q&A. So, that is what we're doing today. I have my iPad here, and I have all of your questions pulled up. So I'm just going to go in order and answer them. I've never actually had interest in a Q&A before, so this is really fun. So bear with me on my awkwardness. And I haven't really prepared much besides a couple of books for one of the questions. So, you know, I don't have cue cards or anything like that, so I hope that's okay. But so, from Jamie ASMR, she asks, what video are you most proud of making, and which is your favorite? I love your videos, and I can't wait for the Q&A. Well, thank you for the love, of course. Let's see, video I'm most proud of. I think I have two that I'm most proud of and had the most fun making. And it was the X-Files roleplay and the perfume sales roleplay that I did. So if you haven't seen either of those, I'll link them down below. And you guys can go and watch them and see if you agree that those are fun. I really liked making them, especially the X-Files one. I thought that one was a blast. So, yes, thank you so much for your question. I really appreciate it. The @charmandon't9280, and please don't crucify me if I get a username wrong. I'm just reading off of this. I actually need to go get those to answer your question. So I'll be right back and then I'll answer your question. Okay, I'm back. I got what I needed. I forgot that I needed those when I went up the first time. So, @charmandon't9280 asks, the plug tunnel collection video is one of my all-time favorites. Maybe you could show off some of your current favorite tunnels. I guess that counts as a question. All questions are welcome, as long as they're kind, of course. And yeah, I haven't shown that in a long time. I'm not sure what size I was when I filmed that video. I would have to go back and look, but I'm currently at 5/8. These are a purple stone pair. I have a bag of my tunnels that I do have for my size to show you guys. So in this bag, we have a collection of stone plugs. I don't wear plastic if I can, or acrylic if I can help it, just because it irritates my ears. So I do wear a lot of stone, and I have a couple in here that I really like. So let me grab them out. Okay. So I have 3 pairs that I really like from those. The first is this blue kind of speckly pair. The second is this like copper super glittery pair. And lastly, the ones that I probably wore the longest prior to getting these like groupings are these. And I wore these for years. I have been 5/8 for a really long time, since probably my first daughter was born. So, yes, a very long time. I just haven't felt a desire to upsize, so I haven't. If I were to pick another pair that I like, I have these alien ones that are too small that I ruined with red hair dye. Go me on that. And then I also have these really cool black ones, again, smaller size, back when I wore acrylic. They have this like snake pattern inside. I hope you can see that. Hush. Sorry for my cat. So, those are some of my favorites. So thank you for your question. I appreciate it. Next question at She Has the Wisdom 1406. Do you have any crafty hobbies? What about your top? I'd never say favorite. That's impossible. Handful of classic books. I love any classic lit. Like collect any vintage books I find almost. Whatever you're comfortable sharing. How are you? /life. Thank you for your question. I'm going to get more into the life stuff in another person's question, so I'll answer your 2 other questions. 1, do I have any crafty hobbies? Yes, absolutely. I have ADHD, so I craft a lot. I love my Cricut, and I also, I make keychains, and I make bookmarks, and I make cups and all sorts of things. I make snow globe cups, which are really cool. What else have I made? I was really into diamond painting for a while, but after the tree hit our old house and it ruined my 50,000 diamond painting, I haven't picked up another one. I also really love photography. I don't know if that's a crafty hobby, but that's something that I super love to do still, even though it's not my job anymore. What else? What else have I made? Oh my gosh, so much stuff. I've tried to crochet. But mostly right now it's the Cricut. Oh, and I make buttons too. And most of that stuff is surrounding my love for this K-pop group called Stray Kids. A lot of my crafting comes from that. So, and then the second question, top like handful of classic books. To be honest with you, I wonder like what your classification of classic is, because you have your super classic like Jane Eyre or Little Women, which I really love Little Women. Or even, are you talking like classic like The Shining or It or any books like that? Because I am a big reader. I have been all my life. So it really depends on your classic, but yeah, those would definitely be some of my favorites. But yes, thank you for your question again. Next person at Barefoot Contessa 0711. What is your favorite genre to read? And do you have any book recommendations? All my love. Thank you so much for your comment and your question. My favorite genre to read is probably like mystery thriller books. I super love Frida McFadden. She is one of my favorite authors right now. One, her books are super quick reads, but also I just like that twist. I really like books like that. Books that are making you think the whole time about who done it or stuff like that. I love stuff like that. I really do. As far as book recommendations, that doesn't really follow in that realm, but these are some of my favorite books. Of course, Harry Potter is, as a whole, one of my favorite book series, but I wasn't going to bring all 8 books down here, so I just brought 3 to share with you. Brought 3 down with me. The first is Fall on Your Knees by Anne Marie MacDonald. This book is one of the most depressing books I have ever read in my life, but it is a beautiful book. I don't even know how to describe this book. It is set in Nova Scotia, and it is about this family called the Piper family, and their family is full of secrets and lies, and it's just sad. I don't even know how to describe this book to you guys, about how just the main character goes through and the way her life ends, and literally beautiful book. Just be forewarned, it is pretty sad. You feel like you know these characters, and you feel like you're living their lives. I think that's one of the reasons why it is so, like, it was so, what is the word I'm looking for? So effective of my life when I read this book. So definitely love Fall on Your Knees. The second is one that is a classic book as far as reading in school goes, and that is The Book Thief by Markus Zusak. If you've never read this book, it is all about Nazi Germany and the Holocaust, and this main character Liesel, and when her family hide a Jew, it shows the repercussions of those choices. So, wonderful book as well. Still very sad, but very, very good. And on a completely different thread, and you guys are gonna laugh at this copy that I own because it is so old, and I should have thrown it away forever, is The Lock by Steve Alten. This is one of my favorite science fiction books to ever be. I'm not sure if those of you who are watching have watched the Meg movies, but that is another series by Steve Alten, and this book is the first thing I ever read from him. And when I was in high school, I spilled coffee all along the edges, and I just couldn't bring myself to get rid of this version. My husband and I have read it multiple times, and it's just one of those books that I'll always go back to. It is about this marine biologist, Zachary Wallace, who has a near drowning incident when he's a child, and he has a second one when him and his team go to try and film the giant squid. And after that happens, he's called back to Scotland because his father has been charged with murder. Very, very good book. Deals with the Loch Ness Monster. Phenomenal book. So, highly recommend this book. And I hope these books are in frame. I can't see. I'm using the back of my phone, so I hope that they're in frame. But yes, that would definitely be my third recommendation. So yes, thank you so much for your question. Okay, next multi-tiered question. This one made me laugh so hard, and my husband too when I read it to him. This question comes from @CarolynMoore2058. What's your life story? As short as or as long as you like. I'd love to know more about you. How'd you meet your husband? What does your daily routine look like? If you won the lottery, what would you buy and do? If you had 3 wishes, what would they be? What do I do for work? And why do I keep leaving you for years at a time? And that is a valid question. So I'll just go down the list and answer your questions. So, first question, what is my life story? Well, let's see, I'm 32. I originally grew up in Connecticut, all over Connecticut. I have 2 biological siblings and 3 half siblings, one of whom passed away long time ago. So I used to live in Connecticut. I'm half Danish, half Italian. My dad actually was living in Denmark after my mom and him split, and he was born there. Let's see, what else? I have played flute since I was 6, piccolo from the time that I was 14, I want to say, because it was definitely in high school when I started playing the piccolo. And I moved to Georgia, which is the state I live in now, when I was 11 to live with my dad, and my stepmom, and I've been here ever since. Let's see, what else? I met my husband when we were 15, and we've been together ever since. And I'll answer the question about how I met my husband in just a moment. But yes, we've been together since we were 15, so this year marks our 17th year together. We've had our dog since we were 19. He turned 13 back in June. We had a black cat named Sam who died last January. He was a very sick cat. He was a black cat. When he was 3, he had a blockage, which is very common in male cats. When he was 6, he had his eye removed due to glaucoma. Both situations there were coincidentally when I was pregnant with both of my daughters. So that's fun. And then he got a tumor that was sarcoma when he was 10. And that was the same time that the tree fell on our old house and we were living with my in-laws. So it was not a super great time to find out that your cat has a tumor, but and he was given 3 to 6 months to live, and we made the ultimate decision in January 2024 to have him put down at our home, because he hated the vet because of all the times he was there, and we didn't want the last moments he had on this earth to be stressed out. And we had him cremated, and we have his ashes on my TV stand in the living room. Shortly after putting him down, we were at PetSmart, and there was an adoption agency there, and I saw my current cat. Her name is Chloe. She was named Skellige. Prior to that, her fosters were big Witcher fans. And we renamed her Chloe, and she's a tortoise calico. Very, very talkative, as I'm sure you guys heard earlier in the video, and very, very affectionate. She's the most affectionate cat that I ever had. So, I had my first daughter when I was 24, and my second when I was 28. And yeah. So that's pretty much about me. I mean, I'm not that interesting of a person, I fear. Second question, how did I meet my husband? Well, I met him in high school. I remember very, very distinctly that in my chemistry class, our teacher had put us alphabetically by first name. So his first name, my first name, both start with A. So naturally we were sat next to each other, and I thought he was adorable. He was shorter than me. He was wearing a polo t-shirt, like a polo collar, you know. And yeah, so I thought he was cute. And then we were in advisement together, which was this period that we had during our lunch period. And I asked him if anybody was sitting next to him, and he said no. And I said, could I sit next to you? And he said sure, and that was that. We became friends. Shortly thereafter, we went to homecoming together, and we've been together ever since. So, and we've been married for 9 years now. So, yeah. My daily routine. Well, I'm pretty boring. I'm a stay-at-home mom, which kind of answers the what do I do for work. I used to do photography a lot, but I just don't have time with being at home with my 2 kids. My eldest daughter does online school, so it's just better for us. So daily routine is, you know, cooking for my kids and helping my daughter with school. And she's actually in one of her classes right now. And cleaning my house and taking care of my pets and reading and living my life, being a stay-at-home mom, really. Taking my kids to the park, to the library, grocery store, you know, basic everyday stuff, you know. and also, freak out about stray kids. Sometimes on the rarity, I will go away for a weekend with one of my friends that I met through Stray Kids, and we go dancing. I really love to dance. It's one of my favorite things to do. I've always loved music. I was in marching band in high school, and I love music. I listen to music every single day. So, yeah. If you won the lottery, what would you buy or do? If I won the lottery, I would probably, first of all, buy a big plot of land and a big building for stray animals, because there are so many in our country, and especially in the Southeast, and not enough people to foster or care for them, or people dump them or backyard breed. I'd also pay off all of my debts, as anybody would. Not that I have many, mostly just our house. And I'd also buy a 3DO, because I've always wanted one, microphone for like ear cleaning ASMRs and stuff like that. What else would I do? I'd probably go on like a pretty good trip with my kids and my husband. What else? I'm sorry for the air conditioning turning on. And I'd probably, when Stray Kids does an Underworld tour, I'd probably buy a ticket for every stop. So, because I went to their Atlanta show, and it was incredible. And I had floor seats too. Okay. Next question. If you had 3 wishes, what would they be? My first wish would be to make the people that I care about comfortable in their life, so that they wouldn't have to worry about working. 2, I would wish that people weren't so hateful of one another. And 3rd, I would wish that I wasn't such an anxious person. Because that's one of my biggest things, is my anxiety. So, and last question from Carolyn Moore is, why do you keep leaving us for years at a time? In all honesty, when I first started making ASMR videos, I was living in a duplex that had fast internet. And then my in-laws had a house on land out in the country that had nobody living in it. So my husband and I offered to live there. Well, little did we know, it had DSL internet, so I couldn't upload. And we ended up living there for 5.5 years. So the very few times that I was able to upload, I did, but I also had both my kids that were babies at the time. Things are a lot easier now, having a almost 8-year-old and a 4-year-old. Things are a ton easier. And when we moved to my last house, I didn't think anybody was going to be interested in me making videos anymore. So I didn't. I was so wrapped up in other stuff, being a mom, dealing with the trauma of the tree hitting our house and our cat dying, and depression and everything else, that I honestly did not believe that you guys would be interested. So the fact that me making these couple of videos have you guys so excited really, really makes me happy. And I super appreciate everybody who has stayed with my channel. I've really not lost that many subscribers in the time that I have been gone, my hiatus, if you would. And so I just really appreciate that. So Um, it really is something that I hope that I can continue doing, trying to make it a priority. But you know, things just fall by the wayside, especially since this is not my job. And you know, it'd be great if it was, but at the same time, I have to be honest, sometimes it's a relief that it's not my income because of the fact that I've had to have really long breaks without wanting to, especially in the case of living in the country for 5.5 years. That wasn't something that I planned on, you know, so yes, so I'm glad to be back. I appreciate all of your questions, especially the last one made me laugh, and I hope I answered your questions adequately. Next is by @JamesEvans. Would you ever do another spa role play or something similar? It is my favorite video of all time. Well, absolutely. I definitely could do that. I have to get another microphone because in between moves and things, I have sold my microphones, which is why I'm filming on my phone. So if I can get another microphone, then I'll absolutely make that spa role play for you because I feel like that would make it the best. And I don't want to disappoint using lo-fi. And last question on the list is by @WeeKitty. What are your favorite shows or movies that you're watching now? Thank you so much for your questions, and thank you, James, as well. My favorite shows or movies? That's a good question. So back before my husband and I had kids, we used to go to the theater every single Friday, and we did that for 5 years. So I saw a lot of movies. Now I don't really watch as many as I'd like to. Show-wise, however, I really like K-dramas. I never got into them prior to me learning, like in the process of learning Korean. And because of Stray Kids, which if you want like story time or like me to show that part of myself, let me know. I know I've mentioned them a few times in this video, but they're a big part of my life right now. And I have a whole part of my office dedicated to them. So I really would love to know if you guys would be interested, or if any of you guys who follow me are stays, let me know as well. I'd really love to gab with you about your biases or bias records or anything like that. So I watch a lot of K-dramas. Some that are my favorite are All of Us Are Dead, Happiness, and The Glory. The Glory was phenomenal. I loved that K-drama so much. And as far as like regular shows, I really love watching documentaries. I watch a lot of true crime documentaries. I've always been morbid like that though. And I really liked the show Exo Kitty that Netflix put out. I'm really excited for the third season. Funnily enough, I started watching it because there's a character playing Stray Kids in there. You see how deep this obsession goes, you know? Yeah, so I like Exo Kitty. What else? Let me think. I mean, one of my favorite shows ever is Supernatural. And we're rewatching that in the background in the evenings, doing other stuff, you know, playing video games or whatever. Yeah, so of course I love Supernatural and like How I Met Your Mother. And funnily enough, I'm watching Seventh Heaven right now. Funnily enough, the show is so ridiculous, but I'm watching it because it's ridiculous. So yeah, I'm watching that. I'm like on the 7th season or something like that, and there are 11. So let's see what else. I also recently watched As Told by Ginger all the way through, because as a kid I'd only watched, you know, episodes here and there, so I rewatched all of that and I really loved that cartoon. But other than that, I mostly watch TikTok, and I'm honest. I watch a lot of TikTok. I'm a little bit of chronically online when it comes to that. That's what I do in the evenings when my kids are asleep, is I doom scroll on TikTok. And sometimes watch YouTube. I don't really watch as much YouTube as I used to. Back before like TikTok was like a thing, or even Musically, because I've had my same account since 2016, maybe even 2015, whenever it was, excuse me, that Musically came out to begin with. I've had my account. So, I used to watch YouTube a ton back in the day. I don't do that anymore now as much. I have the people that I'm subscribed to, and I honestly don't watch ASMR as much as I used to. I still love it, but it's not something that I gravitate toward as much anymore. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because of the fact that I was not making content, so I didn't look for other people's content. I'm not sure. Like, I'm not even sure about the like trends nowadays of what people are making. I know people use shorts, but I don't even know how to get into that. So yeah, those are the questions that you guys asked. Thank you so much for asking me those questions. I hope I answered them sufficiently enough for your curiosity. But I am gonna go, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye now.